to it, Brother Gweilo. How are you, sir?
What's going on, brother? Mason, what's going on?
Nick Giangarra, what's going on, dude?
Howdy. How are you?
Chris Nissen, how you feeling, man?
I'm excellent, brother. How you doing?
All right, so we're going to start talking. This is Broheim Roundtable, and we're just going to talk some shit about literally the differences or the fucking similarities between Fanboy-ism and Brand Loyalty. Because I don't see a difference, but everybody else fucking does. So, like I said, if you guys want to start and plug what you guys doing, please feel free.
All right, absolutely, man. So my name is Chris Nissen. I met these fools at the comic shop. I've known Nick, I don't know how many years now? Say it out loud. Go ahead.
Getting close to 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I've known Mike for the better part of a decade. Rough around those lens, but So I run a video game podcast called the 4205 Cast. If you guys are interested in that, we have weekly episodes up every single week. We talk about what we're playing, what's going on in the video game world, and occasionally we'll throw out a few topics. So if you want to follow us, we're at 4205 Cast at I think we have a Twitter, we have an Instagram. You can find us on SoundCloud, YouTube, every goddamn podcast aggregator known to man. We're on Stitcher, Spotify, all of that shit. I also myself, I do toy photography. This is why you got Bruce hanging out here, because I always have a representative on the cam. And that's NYC Toy Life at Instagram. And see if you guys are interested in my toy photography, come check it out, please.
Thank you.
Awesome. He's really talented. Go look at his stuff.
I'm waiting for the coffee table book, dude. Like, I'm buying that shit immediately.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Oh my God, Nick, please plug yourself, dude.
Okay. My name's Nick, and I run Big Tin Robot Toys and Collectibles. You can find us at bigtinrobot.toys. Before that, well, what else do I do? I don't know. I'm a regular guest on the TFYLP podcast. If anybody's really into Transformers stuff, we talk about really nerdy Transformers things. That's Transformers for your listening pleasure.
Shit.
And they're in all the usual podcasty places, mostly YouTube and Facebook.
Don't forget the Pain List. The news show.
And of course,
please,
the latest source of my never-ending discomfort. I do a funny little thing called the Infinite Pain List. Nick and Jason's Infinite Pain List. You can find that on YouTube. We stream live on Twitch when we do it, and also we got a Facebook page. Basically you get to watch my buddy Jason torture me weekly while I drink heavily. So as you can imagine, it's a good time for everybody except me.
Oh my God.
It's glorious. I implore everyone to check it out.
I have to ask, was it Jason's idea to torture you like this? Or was it like, yo, let's just try something new?
We have been talking for a long time about doing like nerds get drunk and watch a thing. Sort of like and we weren't sure if it was going to be a commentary track or a video thing or what. And at some point we'd heard about the worst anime they've ever done, called Twinkle Nora Rock Me.
Yes.
And like we were saying for a while, we got to get together, we got to watch this thing, we got to drink ourselves stupid while we do it. And then with the pandemic and everything, we haven't been able to get together. Yeah. So finally we said, screw it, let's do it online, let's record it, and let's get stupid.
It's fantastic. There are 3 episodes in, and it's great.
Yeah. Oh, literal tears, man. That last one had me in fucking tears, man.
I am glad that my pain is so entertaining.
Oh my God.
It's the best.
Oh yeah, that wig, that blonde wig, that fucking wig had me. I was like, yo, this dude. Oh my God. Have you ever seen the MST3K the Final Sacrifice episode?
I have not seen that one.
So it's a movie written by a Canadian wrestler.
Yeah.
Like indie wrestler.
Okay.
And his buddies are in the movie, and like his best friend is the fucking bad guy or some shit. I think it's his best friend. And it's horrific. But it's their best episode. Like it's so bad. Fucking Shyla loves it. Like we watch it every year. Like we gotta get that one good one in. And let's go. So let's get this shit started.
Let's do it.
That's good, man.
So let me ask you guys, just as fans of comics and just pop culture, like what gravitated you toward the things that you guys love? Like for you, Chris, with toys and comics, and same thing with you, Nick. Like what was the thing that one issue that got you to start reading comics, or the one toy that got you to start going that route?
Chris,
All right, I'll start up. So On the comics end, I'm wearing it.
Okay.
Nice.
No, it's Miles. I love. He's a precious boy. He must be protected. He's my favorite. But what I was always big into comics growing up. You know, I love superheroes. I love Spider-Man. You know, I've been loving Peter Parker since like before I had conscious memory.
TJ?
You know. Oh shit.
Here comes a new challenger.
Yes.
There
Yes.
DJ, you're muted, you jerk.
You're muted, dude.
And you got the wrong name on your ID again. Oh shoot, I'm signed into the wrong account.
I was gonna do things under his bad name.
What happened to
Okay.
responsible adult? Where's responsible adult?
Exactly, dude.
Mhm.
Your responsible adult can go to hell. How you like me now?
Eat that and a
what?
bag of dicks.
Hang on, wait, you know what? Hang on. If you'll excuse me.
Oh, here we go.
Mhm.
Now it's gonna get good.
Oh,
Oh,
was
my
it
God.
something I said?
Yeah, he's
It's
gonna change the
come
name and
back
come
as
back.
It's gonna come back as Gene Simmons. Like, just-
We might get Dick Grayson age 12.
oh God.
No.
That'd be good.
So while we wait for him, Nick, one thing I
Yeah.
got you in. Oh, but,
Yeah,
or were you still talking, Chris?
I was still talking, I mean, we can wait for TJ to get back potentially, but yeah. So I Ultimate Spider-Man is what made me like a humongous comic fan. Like I read my first time, I read it was like a bumper edition of the first 3 issues, right? And I read that and I was like, holy shit, they write comics like this now.
Yeah.
You know, like because the dialogue felt real.
Mhm.
Like it felt like real fucking people talking. And after that, I went to Ultimate X-Men naturally. I started reading Amazing Spider-Man again because it had been a couple years since the Clone Saga and the Straczynski run was going then.
Yeah.
So it was at its like some of the
Were
strongest.
you
stuff
not a
ever.
fan of the Clone Saga?
Oh my god, no. Like,
Mhm.
so I have a secret love for Ben Reilly's costume.
Okay.
All of them, like you know, Scarlet Spider and like his Spider-Man costume. But like, the Clone Saga was a train wreck and it was terrible and it bankrupted Marvel. So you know, between that and Teen Tony and Heroes Reborn and God, it was
Just wasn't
not a good
working for
time.
you.
You know, I was reading DC for a while at that time. But anyways, like what really made me come into comic shops again. And you know, I think it must have been 16, and I just Ultimate Spider-Man. And after that, I've been in love with comics ever since. I worked at a comic shop with Nick for. We were in the plus 15 years club.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I realized. Well, it was funny because like after the shop closed, I asked Nick. I was like, Nick, I have no idea how fucking long I was technically there because I had come and gone and come and gone and come and gone so many fucking times.
That seemed like that was a thing with St. Mark's. Like,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you always came back for more. Oh,
Yeah.
especially if you were like, if it was like part of you, you know, if you were like part of the extended family, like you just always went back there at some point, right?
Yeah.
So I asked Nick, I'm like, Nick, I don't know how many fucking years I've been there. So we had to like figure it out using Nick's help, and I decided that it was made apparent that he and I were in a very special club. Well, the only person with total of like 15 years tenure at that fucking place.
Wow.
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 Uh-huh.
And it's sad because I see pictures of St. Mark's now, and it's just a fucking.
Yeah, some Buddhist
Mm.
shit or some shit. I mean, like,
God,
you know,
it's like, come on, man.
look, it's what it be, man. It's
At least it's not a Subway.
exactly.
I mean,
Oh, hey.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, or
Had
Or
to deal
another
with that
hot
video
dog
game
place.
series.
or another bank.
Mm.
Oh.
yeah.
At least it's still some sort of like
Yeah, it's some
unique and
distinct-
different flavor of the East Village.
It is. It's very East. It is very East Villagey. That's the
Yeah.
one thing that gave me some solace. I was like, you know what? That looks like a store in the East Village, so I'm not gonna get that mad
What did they
Yeah.
put up on it? What did they replace it with?
at it. It's some like I think it's some
Did-
Far East gift shop. Like I'm not even joking, or some shit.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember off the top of my head. And it was empty for like at least 6 months. But so yeah, so I worked at the comic store. There it is.
I hate you.
Responsible adult.
I told you.
Oh my God, I hate you so
I need an adult.
Oh,
I am an adult.
oh, someone shoot me dead in the face.
Oh man.
So, so between that, I've also worked at video game retailer, anonymous video game retailer that I can't name potentially. You know what they are if you understand anything about me.
He'd rather not name. Let's save that.
I'd rather
Mike.
not name.
I know you see it.
I see it.
I know.
saw it. I saw it. I wanted to let Chris finish before I fucking laughed, though. Because-
So yeah, just so I'm obsessed with comics, video games, and the toy thing is a relatively new thing. I got Bruce here because the import figure line of Figure Arts really kind of brought me in. Dragon Ball line, Kamen Rider, etc.
Oh, yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, they are beautiful fucking toys. And hell yeah, see? TJ's got that Bruce.
Go.
I got him for,
nice.
is that your birthday or Christmas, buddy? I can't remember.
Christmas.
Bring show and
Right.
tell today. I didn't bring a figure.
You got what pop is literally behind you right now?
Yeah.
Behind me?
Yes.
Oh, that's the thing I got to ship out to somebody. It's Rick's ship from Rick and Morty.
Oh,
okay.
son of a bitch.
I owe that to Gabe. I got to ship it to him.
Listen, I'll double what he paid right now.
So that's pretty much my mainstays. I'm a nerd of many colors, man. I feel like it is too a fanboy of too many things to name, so to speak.
Oh my god, Nick, what about you, dude?
Well, I mean, I've been into comics and toys since I was, I don't know, born. So, the first comic series I really got into was Alf. Alf is the thing that gave me my love for comic books.
Wow.
But
that is not what I expected to hear.
I know, right?
The first superhero comic I ever read, and TJ's gonna chime in on this, I'm sure, is Amazing Spider-Man 350. It was a milestone issue. It was Spidey versus Dr. Doom, and it was just funny and clever, and all the things that I liked from Alf, but like, the next step. And so that was where I fell in love with Spider-Man. And so I was a Spider-Man collector pretty much until I started at the comic shop, and then everything really exploded. And, I don't know, 30 long boxes, and I don't know how many boxes of trade paperbacks later, here we are. And now as for toys, my first and greatest love is the Transformers. Okay. I am the fourth or fifth largest Transformer collector in the world.
When we last saw each other, you were fifth.
He's fourth now.
I'm checking right now. I'll tell you.
I think he's fourth. Last we checked.
There's a website where you can catalog your stuff, and you got to kind of be in it to win it, So I'm sure that there are guys who have larger collections that don't catalog, but according to Schmax, I am the fourth largest Transformers collector in the world.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Wow.
I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 6,000 different line items in my database for toys and merch, and I've probably got 2,500 Transformers comics. So I got a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
So if you want to talk brand loyalty, we
That's
can talk all about Hasbro brand loyalty, baby.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Oh yeah. They fucked up on Optimus Prime though, man. When they re-released it, I was so disappointed on that one, man.
Yeah.
Just
that
the cab, no trailer.
That Unicron pissed
exactly.
me the fuck off, man. Going to two of those fucking things.
As for what got me into why I love Transformers, the thing that made me love Transformers originally was the very first Optimus Prime toy when I was 3, 4, whatever it was. I got it for Christmas one year, and that was just it for me. And obviously the Transformers movie in '86 was a big foundational part for me.
Still good.
But the thing that kept me collecting all these years, the thing that brought me back to it, unlike so many of the other toy lines I had when I was a kid, was Beast Wars.
Really?
Yeah. That was the thing that really pulled me back in and made me start buying every single Transformers toy ever. At that point, when I started collecting again, I didn't just buy a few of the ones I liked. I bought everything, and I bought everything with the word Transformers on it.
No matter what.
No matter what, I bought it.
Wow.
Even if he hated it.
See also all the movie toys I own.
Exactly.
I hate them, but I own every single one.
You own every one of them. Shit.
The brain damage is strong.
The crazy shit, before you, meeting you and buying stuff from you, the last Transformer toy I remember buying, the Insecticons came in one fucking case. And it was like one big pack, and there was a Japanese lady who owned a toy shop a block away from my house.
Sure.
And I was like 9 years old. And that was the last time I actually bought a Transformer before fucking meeting you. and now it's like, fuck it, I need some big shit.
Yep.
Every since.
I still got stuff for you.
Oh, dude, I know. We'll Jess, I haven't forgot. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm so sorry.
Nothing to apologize for.
But
it'll be ridiculous.
But Metroplex is right above me, right over here, watching over my bed, and then Omega Supreme's on the other shelf next to Unicron. So
very cool.
I made a space for him. TJ, what's good, fucker?
What's going on, man?
How you been, babe?
Good. Come on, too sweet, me.
Too sweet.
There we go.
So, dude, please introduce and plug yourself, man.
All right. So, So yeah, I'm TJ Shevlin. I don't know, what am I supposed to say here? You know, Kareem, right? Comics rules everything around me.
That's right.
You know, I born in the Bronx, grew up in Manhattan. What did I love growing up? Comic books, heavy metal, hip hop, toys. I mean, pro wrestling. It was
an issue, like your first issue that made you a fucking like locked in on comics.
Look at that.
There it is.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Booyah.
He had the
Amazing Spider-Man 350.
Yeah.
Do we all have that one?
Yeah.
But mine is signed by Eric Larson.
Ooh.
It was by David Michelinie, Eric Larson, Randy Emberlin, who was one of the underrated inkers of his period, and a lot of people really don't bring him up when it comes to like the discussion of inkers.
TJ, they don't bring inkers up in general.
Tell that to Terry Austin and Klaus Janson.
I was gonna say Klaus Janson, Scott Williams, second name.
Scott Williams, obviously.
Dexter Vines.
Right.
Yeah.
Terry Austin, Dick Giordano. But at any rate, so that was the first real comic I bought with my own money. I'd been given comics as a kid. I think it's Avengers 262 or something. It's the Wasp versus the new female Yellow Jacket, who was a member of the Masters of Evil. Yeah. It's one of the earliest comics I was ever given. But comics and action figure superheroes were pretty much all around me. The Superpowers toys by Kenner was what really started my love of the DC universe. I wasn't reading comic books at 5 years old, but I knew who Green Arrow and Firestorm and Dr. Fate and Darkseid and Plastic Man and Mr. Miracle and all these characters. I knew who they were because of the Superpowers toys. And that was where I started my education, was those figures there. And I needed to know more. I mean, you know, it's a product of the 80s. Masters of the Universe was the big one. Transformers, Ghostbusters, Thundercats, a lot of that stuff. The Dungeons and Dragons cartoon was probably my favorite cartoon of the 80s and probably still is. All that stuff really kind of shaped and informed what I would eventually like really fall in love with. But I think the thing that really cemented it for me, along with that issue of Spidey, it's three things in particular. And it's three very important things to me. One of them is Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series not only made me fall in love with Batman in a way that I wasn't even already, and at that point I was in love with Batman. That show, to this day, 25 years later, everybody gets Batman wrong because they don't pull from that show.
Yep.
Period.
Well, I've always felt there's to the studios, there's only one Batman story, and that's The Dark Knight Returns. Like, other than that,
and it's miserable. like the fact that that's all they pull from kills me.
It's like, you tell me there's no other good Batman stories, like, and then it's always, it has to be dark and edgy, and it has to be, and it's like, dude, come on, man.
Number
I'm
two.
sure we'll get to that.
Oh yeah.
Number two, and this is kind of a twofer, 2A, X-Men issue 1 by Jim Lee.
Okay.
And 2B with that is X-Men the Animated Series.
Oh, okay.
They're practically one and the same.
Good.
Basically.
And I guess, quite frankly, 2C is that first wave of Toy Biz X-Men toys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those three things, like, the only Marvel Legends toys I collect right now are the X-Men from that period, and it's Chris Nissen's fault, and that's why he's laughing. But that period, like 1989 to 1995 of the X-Men, is just so, like, perfect. And like 1995 is a little questionable, I'll admit.
We lost it.
He lost
Audio's gone.
Audio's gone, Teach.
Audio's gone.
Hold on.
And
Is your headpiece?
Does he?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Okay, I told you I hate Zoom.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. There we go.
1995 is questionable. Was the last thing we heard.
Good.
Yeah.
And number three, and this was probably the big one as to what really shaped my love of comic books. I was 9 years old when Tim Drake became Robin, and that was the first character I ever truly felt was mine. And to this day, that character is so heavily influential on me, for me, to me.
Oh, we lost you again, Tage.
Yeah, lost. Yep.
Damn.
Technical difficulties. Gotta love it.
It's Zoom. TJ's like fucking. He's like Agador in the bird cage. It's the shoes.
It worked. Yeah, that character was so super influential to me at a time when I needed a character like that. That it really, it did it all for me. And we'll talk about this, but everybody who has done things with that role to a point where they've devalued so much of the importance of it that it's we'll get into that later, but like as a 9-10-year-old kid, that was something that I needed, and it's never left me. So those are the big ones. And like I said, I mean, wrestling, punk rock, heavy metal, hip hop, add all that stuff to comic books, and that's me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Al, what's that comic book that got you involved, man?
Well, the comic book that got me involved, it was actually a gift from one of my cousins, and it was like, remember those big Treasury comic books back in the day? It was, I believe, it was issue 25, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the one where Spider-Man fights the Hulk at the Winter Olympics. So that was the one that was actually my very first introduction to Spider-Man. And I was a kid, so I just like looking at the pictures. I'm like, screw the reading, but the artwork was good, and I always felt sorry for Spider-Man because the Hulk was just too strong for the guy. So, and then seeing that, and then I collected Spider-Man issues, kept on reading them as I was growing up, and also watching the movies. I felt like a bond, pretty much, like something that I could relate to. And I remember when actually I had gotten out of the love of comics due to the Clone Saga for years. I mean, I said
1995 was questionable, didn't I?
yes, you did.
Yeah.
I mentioned it too, Teach.
Yeah,
1990. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm telling you, 1995 Marvel is mad questionable.
Yes.
Oh my god.
The Crossing?
Oh man.
Avengers: The Crossing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Teen Tony.
Oh. So at any rate, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. So after that, it was like years since I ever picked up a comic book. Actually, what got me back into it was the Superior Spider-Man storyline, and I was like, wow, this is actually what would happen if Peter Parker would actually like let go of those restraints and just be the hero with no boundaries. And when he did that, I was like, wow, this is like watching. It's like you gave him like pretty much Tony Stark status, and then you gave him also like Punisher status at the same time. Like he'll do whatever it takes just to become the best Spider-Man there is. And so that reading that, I was like, I was back into the comics, and then coming back to it also with the movies falling in line. It was also good to see that they actually made a Spider-Man movie, with the first one being with the Tobey Maguire and stuff. And but I believe what actually was cemented that bond with me and Peter Parker was not only did they do Homecoming, they filmed it in my old high school. But I remember.
Cool. Nice.
And I remember issue 400 was a sad one for me because that's when actually Aunt May had died. And that was the same year I had lost my grandmother. So for that year, I was like, even to this day, I only read that comic once, and I can't read it again because it just stirs up a lot of memories. But
I got that.
God.
But that was it. I was like, that's it.
That is Spider-Man Blue for me. Thank you, TJ, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I can't. Oh, I'm fucking. Even I read it before I moved here, and I was crying. And I've read it like 10, 15 times already, and every fucking time it's the same line that gets me. it's the same panel, and I see it coming. I'm like, oh, and I start welling up, and I fucking read it anyway, and I'm crying right after, and then I'm cursing TJ's name because he's done this. He's done,
and that's not even for the comic,
because he broke my heart once or twice.
You know, it's funny though because you were saying how Homecoming was filmed in your high school. And it's like, man, that's not fair. My high school had SVU filmed there. Like, that's not even nearly as cool.
What high school did you go to?
Me?
Humanities.
Yeah.
I went to Humanities.
Oh, fuck.
Bro.
That's what everybody says. Chris, tell them.
Dude, oh, fuck is right. It was across the street from me, actually. TJ went to high school literally across the street from my house. We never knew each other. We didn't.
I'm friends.
Way later.
Friends since I was like 15 or 16 with friends of his since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And we still never met.
Yeah. One of my best friends in the world, Tim. Went to school with
the
TJ.
only two kids probably wearing Nightwing t-shirts in the late 90s and in the same neighborhood, and we never met.
We never met. Like, doesn't
That's
make any sense.
brilliant.
How is that even possible?
That is fucking brilliant.
Wow.
I don't get it.
Dick Grayson fanboys. Doesn't make any sense.
Oh, my God.
A couple of dicks.
Describes this perfectly, buddy.
So, Tej, I explained it to these guys. Let me explain to
Sure.
you what happened here so we can understand why I have posed this question, right? So, Al has a friend who's a massive DCEU fan. Everybody, right?
There it is.
And he believes he's going to see this and know we're talking about him, and I don't even give a fuck anymore. But he thinks that Zack Snyder is, you know, like he is DCEU. He's the best movies ever. Secondly, he thinks
you're gonna give TJ a seizure, man.
Yeah, he thinks that The Watchmen is horrible, but BVS is the best. He's also part of that Release the Snyder Cut movement, and he has a show on YouTube where he literally talks about anything that Zack Snyder does.
So is this an intervention or a podcast?
So he's not coming on here. He's not coming on here. He's not because to do that to him, oh my God, man! Like we're crucifying Christ.
Mike told me, and I thought, I'm like, wait, is he coming on?
No,
because TJ's going to eat him for breakfast.
Oh,
like, this is going to be terrible.
Because we've done it.
No,
like, we've already eaten him.
Oh my God.
No. I'm on a diet. What time is it? It's almost 8:00. I can't eat past 8. So
yeah, right.
It's fine.
He's vegan now, so we can't have that shit.
TJ already taught school for the day.
Yeah, right.
Classes.
I'm done.
So Al telling him like he's a fucking fanboy, and he's like, no, not at all. So I started thinking like, is he a fanboy or a brand loyalist? And then I was like, is there a fucking difference at this point in time? So I can say that to actually pose the question like, what is fanboyism and what is brand loyalty?
Okay, so do you mind if I start this off?
Please.
Go. Okay, so so this is complex, but this is actually a really interesting question. And first, we're going to start. Do you guys remember in the 90s all those Simon Bisley Lobo comics?
Of course. Oh, we lost you again,
Nope, there goes the sound.
There goes.
I imagine he's talking about Bite Me Fanboy. Sorry to steal your point. Now the video's frozen.
So he's like these.
I told y'all I hate Zoom.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah,
we
got you.
The video's still catching up. We can hear you.
We got you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's out again.
I'm gonna send him a mic. I swear to God.
Is it his mic or is it fucking or is
Might be the
internet?
connection. Yep, that's it.
Is that the data he reached his cap?
Oh man.
Buddy, what's going on
This
there?
is great.
You right there, Tiger?
Can you hear me now?
Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Oh.
No, he's got to go back.
No.
If one of you two guys,
yeah.
one of you guys want to start, and we'll just wait till he gets back.
All right.
Go ahead,
Well,
Nick.
sure. I think that there is a difference between brand loyalty and being a fanboy and just simply being a fan of the thing. I am a hardcore brand loyalist. I will buy anything Transformers, anything that's official by Hasbro. You see. And now, for those of you who don't know, in the Transformers collecting community, there are other transforming robot toys made by other companies that sort of skate around the edges of legality. And in general, they're called third party. What they'll do is they'll make robots that they call homages to certain Transformers characters, but they don't have the rights to do it, and they don't call them the right names and things, but they look like, you look at it and you know, oh yeah, that's a Hot Rod.
Yeah.
That's a Megatron. They call him Hegemon, but we know that's a Megatron.
Right.
So third party stuff. For the most part, mostly for my own sanity, I don't buy third party things because it doesn't check the little box in my brand loyalist brain. I don't need it to complete a list.
Okay.
The only time I buy third party stuff is when it's a thing that Hasbro will never bother doing because it's too obscure, or it's an upgrade kit that makes my existing Hasbro toy somehow better.
Okay.
So in terms of brand loyalty, really, I buy everything that Hasbro licenses and puts out, regardless of whether or not I like it. Okay. Now, that's different from being the fanboy, I suppose. Although I can be a fanboy at times.
Okay.
Because really? I don't have to like everything that they do. I can still be critical without being a jerk of things that I don't like and I think are bad for the brand.
Okay.
I don't just accept it all as it is.
I think in your case, Nick, it's because you have one of the most hardcore collector mentalities that I know. You know, as far as like.
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah, well, hey man, same as a compliment, baby. So like, it's one of those things that like, you know, you're willing to, even if it's something you don't like, it's like this. It's a completionist thing, almost more so than it even is a brand loyalty thing. Yeah. I mean, also, sure. I would assume it's because something that you fell in love with as a kid, you have a natural tendency to enjoy that sort of thing, especially when they make something really cool that's relevant to it. Okay. Right?
And you know, there's a difference between. I think this particular thing is bad and harmful for the brand overall versus I recognize that this thing is not for me, but I'm still buying it anyway because I collect it all.
Okay. So like, is that really brand loyalty or is that just a collector's mentality?
Well, it all depends on, I guess, how you define that. Yeah. if I were buying all the third party stuff, would I be a brand loyalist? True. Or would I just be more of a completionist?
Right.
True.
No. You know, in terms of the fanboy stuff, when you think of the angry online fanboy, it's the guy who always has something to bitch about. It's the guy who's always upset no matter what the company does. They throw out terms like, "Oh, Hasbro," and you know, everything is neon and everything sucks. And why is anything for kids? And it's like, because these are kids' toys. Because these toys are made for kids.
Yeah.
Not everything is made for you.
No.
Sorry. You know, and like I may not like the movie things. I may think the movies are in fact detrimental to the overall image of the brand, even though they're good for short-term dollars for the brand. But that's a much longer conversation. Yeah. And I sort of recognize that at this point they've been around so long that they're just simply not for me.
Okay.
I'm not the target audience anymore, and I'm okay with letting other people enjoy things.
Are you though?
Are you really?
I'm a Hemsworth. Are you though? Are you really?
I almost got the sentence out and meant it. Leave me alone.
I felt that one.
Oh my god, it hurt him. Like it really in this region.
Shockwaves.
Oh my god, dude. Just...
So I'll say what I was going to say before. Now that I've gotten Zoom situated, in the Lobo books in the '90s, you know, Lobo would insult the fans who complained about everything and called them fanboys because, you know, he'd break the fourth wall and all that.
And be Lobo. And,
you know, fanboy was not this term that it's turned into now, where it's like if you like something, you're a fanboy. Like being a fanboy wasn't something to aspire to be. It was not a cool thing, and everybody seems to have forgotten that. But now
it's a dirty word, essentially.
That's where we had thrown the term at our friend, like, dude, like you're kind of being that at this point, you know.
So, but with that said, talking about brand loyalty versus fanboy, and I think this is where I can kind of kick in because, you know, when I was growing up, it wasn't Star Wars or Star Trek. It was Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yes.
It was WWF and WCW. It was Marvel and DC. You know, I liked everything, and I never understood the idea of choosing one or the other when I can have more of the thing I like.
Yes.
So I never got that personally, and I never will. But with that said, I think I can speak a little bit. Like me, Nick, and Chris are all big fans of the everything, but we all certainly have the areas where we love it more than the other. Like I love Transformers. I can't touch what Nick does. You know, Chris and I, both big Bruce Lee guys, right? I can't touch that. You know, Nick and Chris are both big DC guys. But I know.
TJ, show them off.
Huh?
Show 'em
Well,
off.
that's where I was gonna go to.
I know, bitch.
I hate. Okay, hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike. The course of the last maybe 10, 11 years of DC Comics. I don't agree with I don't agree with the direction of the characters. I don't agree with the direction of the universe as a whole, and that's because I would say it's a much greater emotional attachment to these characters. But the truth is sometimes, and we all feel like this about the things that we love, sometimes you feel like you know better than the people who were in charge. That being said, with the Snyder thing, when you have people who work on these characters deciding that they're going to reinvent the wheel instead of driving the car because it suits them, it does a disservice to the characters. It does a disservice to the overall mainstream view of the characters. To the world at large, Optimus Prime has no problem with killing to prove a point that Megatron is bad, and that is not good writing. That is lazy writing, and it is shit caretaking. And so that is something that Nick would feel about Transformers, right, Nick?
It makes me want to tear my face off.
There you go. Flames from the side of my face. So now with the DC universe, I know a guy recently, a buddy of mine out here in San Diego, and he was talking about the Snyder Cut, and I was talking about what is wrong with not just the Snyder Cut, but the DCEU and the approach to the majority of these characters as a whole, and how I said that the Snyder Cut sets a bad precedent for the future of this type of movie making. And his response to me was, well, it doesn't matter how you feel because real DC fans want this to happen. And so my response to him was...
How long before he was counting his teeth?
Jesus.
No, I like the guy. I like him a lot. He's a really good dude. But like my response to it was, my Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, Jack Knight, Starman, and Nightwing tattoos would beg to differ.
Can you tell TJ's a 90s kid? I mean, a fellow 90s kid talking here. I'm just saying.
Also, with those three characters there, I talk about how Marvel in 95 was pretty terrible. DC was awesome. In 95 is pretty boss. But at any rate, the point of this is it is not hard to figure out who these characters are and give them to an audience who has never read them before. And that is the thing. You are always going to hear people say, well, this is an alternate universe. It's not the comics. And okay, it's not the comics, but you are giving to an audience characters that we read in the comics, and you want them to see what it is about these characters that have lasted 60, 70, 75, 80 years. You want them to understand what it is that has attached us to them, that has gravitated us towards them, and that is the job of the movie maker.
Yeah, the best approach you can take as a filmmaker is the approach of, hey, here's this thing I really love and enjoy, and here's why I think you'll love it. This is all the cool stuff about it. Here it is on screen now. Enjoy that.
Like, it doesn't have to even cater to a fan.
No.
And I think a lot of people have this concept that
it has to cater to everybody, Mike.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think everybody has, that's what I think, that everybody has this thought process or that, that this guy wrote it for us fans. It's like, no, he's a fan.
Oh.
He knows how, like, he knows the source material. He loves the source material, and he knows how to present it to all of us.
And he made a story.
Should be writing these stories in service of the character.
Exactly.
In service to their iconic legacy.
And Chris and
boil
Nick,
them down to their essence. Figure out who this character is, and then write a story in service of that.
You
don't have to recreate all the perfect moments from the books. You don't have to retell things we've read a million times before. You can do a completely new story as long as you get the essence of who that character is and why they do the things they do.
And make people who aren't into them fall in love with those characters.
Do you guys want the perfect example? The perfect example is this. And Chris and Nick, I believe all of us were at St. Mark's at the time. If you had told us 12, 13 years ago that there was going to be, at the time when they had just relaunched these characters again, if you had said, hey guys, 12, 13 years from now, we're going to have a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, a Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel, a ride at Disneyland.
Dude, like,
action
what bizarro world are we living in?
All of those things in 2008, I would have laughed in your face and said you're crazy.
Yeah, you're insane.
Wait. Yes. And then if you had said to me, and the guy who directed Romeo and Juliet is going to direct it.
Or Slither.
And the other part, and Disney is releasing it.
Yes.
That's the icing on the cake.
Yes.
All 7 of those things there, I would have laughed in your face and said you're crazy. And here we are. It's easily, like, you want to talk about the most consistent franchises that the Marvel Studios has had. It's Captain America and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Cap is always that series that I go to give an example of, like, this is how you update a character with some modern contextuals for your audience. Like, the fact that people, I'm going to go on the Superman right now because it really drives me crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that the numerous amount of people who are like, oh, I don't know what to do about Superman, so get the fuck out of the way.
And let someone who knows what they're doing do it.
Yes.
Because if you don't understand Superman, why are you making Superman movies? Don't fucking write it.
Yeah.
No.
Why is this person in charge? They
Yeah.
killed Superman in BVS because Zack Snyder didn't know what to do with him for Justice League. And that's out of quote out of his fucking mouth. And this is the guy that was in charge of making these movies, right? And I'm not going to just sit here and dump all over the DCEU because that's too easy.
I will.
That's fine. I'm just
Same here.
Yeah, listen, I'm with it. It's gonna be a DC fucking hate festival.
It's just,
I don't care.
all right, so I'm gonna give you an example of one of my fanboyisms. Proof that, like, if you like, say if I technically consider myself a fanboy, like, I'm a big Capcom head. Like, I love Street Fighter. I love fighting games.
Yeah.
There's a series that I love probably almost as much as Street Fighter, and it's Devil May Cry.
Power Stone.
I love Power Stone too.
Oh,
I want to come back. I want him to come back. God, just
Mm-hmm.
quick collection now, for fuck's sake, Capcom. Jesus, $20, I'll buy it. Anyways, Devil May Cry, right? DMC 1 came out in 2001, 2002. Fantastic fucking game. Was changed the way action games are made. It was essentially just the next logistical step from beat 'em ups like Final Fight, Streets of Rage, etc. Like, this was like where these games were going. This is what this game was supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
2 comes out. It's not great. Was development cycle was a fucking train wreck. Wasn't all that, right?
No.
3 comes out in 2005. Drops one of the coolest fucking trailers known to goddamn man. And I still think is the pinnacle of the series, personally. 3 is incredible and blows everyone out of the water. 4 comes out. They introduce a new protagonist. The game, you could see the cracks of the development hole where they had trouble with it, but the game was still really good.
I was not a fan of 4 at all.
Honestly, I'm a huge fan of 4. I love Nero more than I probably should. But 4's problem is the backtracking. Like, there's a whole like issue. You could see where they ran out of money for that game, essentially. Right? There's and they kind of like,
and a couple of ideas. Like just there's some
like,
moments where you're like, we're gonna do this again.
Yeah, I mean there's certain parts, right? So fast forward to the DMC reboot, right? If I were a fanboy, okay, I would have completely shit on this thing from the start, which I did because I think the trailer looked terrible. It didn't look like Dante. There was nothing that I cared about that was there, having grown up with it. But I said, if this game plays good, if it's a good game and it's a good story, I'll play it eventually. And I did eventually, right? Honestly, I didn't think it was still great. I think it was an okay thing. I think the initial critiques were proper because it didn't look and feel and it just didn't appeal to the right crowd. And it's like they were making that game for nobody, essentially. They wanted to reinvigorate DMC to this massive critical and financial success on the likes of Call of Duty land. And that was never going to happen because DMC is just not in that same
using an Eastern developer and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Completely using the Western developer. And Ninja Theory is a fine developer, you know. The director was an asshole, and he really they should have shut his mouth on the PR because that definitely hurt sales of the game. But I'm not going to go into super details about that here. And then come around to DMC 5. And DMC 5 was just fucking perfect return to form.
Yes.
You know?
Yes,
and DMC 5 was my game of the year last year. Like, I don't think it was close. Maybe Sam Show was close to it, but, like, DMC 5 was fucking incredible. And I have always managed to respect that brand because 3 out of the 5 entries I love. You know what I mean? So it's like there's enough goodwill. Like, when they inevitably make a new one, you know, if they make a brand new protagonist, I'm probably going to be in, you know, as long as like there are things that are present of that game series that I love. And the reason I like DMC 5 is because it felt like the next continual step from 4 and even 3 to some capacity, you know, where they finally let go of Dante. Dante has an actual conclusion in that game.
Yes.
So does Virgil. And it's like, let's let the kid be his own man at this point. And I really
they did a really good job with that one. Good job.
That's one example of like, and like my fanboyism comes in, but if the game sucks, I'm going to call it out, and I'm not going to spend money on it. I didn't spend a lot of money on the remake of DMC. I waited to play it when it was free on PlayStation Plus because I was like, I don't know, I'm not seeing enough here for me, right? I guess the only other thing that I can think of that like I may have prejudged initially, but I've never been happier to accept is like I said, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Ultimate Spider-Man is what made me love comics the way I do, right? So I'm going to flash back to 2011, and Miles Morales is about to be created, right? And I remember telling Nick, I'm like, I don't know, man. I hope it's not just a PR stunt, you know, because I understand that diversity is super important, super fucking important in media as a whole, right? Yeah. And I didn't want it to feel like it was some cheap PR stunt in an attempt to grab some kind of notoriety. You know,
you wanted to be organic. You wanted to feel like a natural progression of things.
Exactly, right? And I put down that fucking first issue, the first full issue, not Ultimate Fallout 4, which only had like a little 6-page story or whatever about him, which told us nothing. But I put down that first issue, and I was like, holy fuck, I think they got me. And I actually think I've gotten to a point where I think I may like Miles a little bit more than Peter even.
Really?
What? Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Look at all the faces of the masses.
Yeah.
Hold up. I got to get the crazy eyes. Hold up. What did you just say?
Oh, my God. You're in the danger zone, man. You're in the danger zone.
So you want to talk about the best comic book movie ever made? It's Spider-Verse by a fucking country mile, in my opinion.
Now, here's the thing.
Wow.
One of my really good friends, we were having a Zoom conversation with him a week ago, matter of fact. And that's his worst Spider-Man movie.
He's out of his mind.
He's crazy.
Hold on. No, and his reason being is that he feels like he's a fan of Miles, and he feels like Miles in the comic books is somebody that was more open to the challenges that came to him. And he feels like Miles' portrayal in this movie was more of someone who ran away from those confrontations.
Peter did?
Like Peter did?
So no,
and Miles did too. He's wrong. Your boy's wrong. You can tell him I said it. Chris Nissen, who is wearing a Miles Morales shirt, the Spider-Verse version, motherfucker. Okay. All right.
You want to cut a promo while we're at it, dude?
Oh, let's go, baby. Like
this corner.
Not real talk. Miles ran away. Miles had his powers while Peter was still Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah.
And in the first issue, he saves some kid from a burning building, right? And has a fucking panic attack after because he's 13 and is like, "The fuck am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. This is crazy. I can't be doing this. Like, I have these powers. I don't know what to do." Right? Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe dies, and Miles is like, "Shit, I should have helped him. If I didn't help him, if I had gone to seek him out or done something, right?" And he goes to Spider-Man's funeral, and he's like close enough that he can see Aunt May and Gwen Stacy walking by, right? And he asks Gwen, he's like, "Why did he do it?" And she initially ignores him, then she comes back and she's like, "You really want to know?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And she was like, "He did this because he once made a choice to not help somebody, and he regretted it for the rest of his life. So he spent his whole time trying to make up for that fact." And the mask looked damn cool, right? And that kind of, I loved that, even though it's a little looser in the comics, in the film actually does, I think the film does a better job of tying that directly, because Miles is there when Peter dies.
Yeah.
So Miles is front.
Watched him die. Yeah.
Miles literally watched him get killed.
Yeah.
Like, and I sat there in that film, and I literally started to tear up as soon as they introduced him, man. Like, the moment Sunflower starts playing and he's just drawn and singing and shit, and I'm just already like, "Oh my God, this is fucking perfect."
Yeah.
And from that moment, that movie never stops being perfect.
So good.
And
I love it.
It's incredible, and it does something. And I don't like comparing it to the comic because the movie does something that a lot of adaptations tend to. It's called adaptation distillation. Again, which the thing that Nick was touching on, adaptation distillation is when you take all these things about a story and a character and you make them work in a smaller environment and you adapt it for that medium.
Okay.
All right. And that movie did Miles perfectly. Somehow in a film that also managed to talk about Peter Parker getting older and being
Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham and Nicolas Cage Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen
and
actually make it all work. That movie doesn't make sense. Like, I do not understand how the intricacies. It doesn't make sense.
But it's so good.
By all rights, guys, by all rights, Into the Spider-Verse shouldn't have worked.
Nope.
And the truth is, and no disrespect intended, it shouldn't have been good. Not it shouldn't have been that good. It shouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
I don't believe for a long time that any audience was ready for a movie like that. And it's great to be proven wrong.
Yeah,
it's
I was
great to be proven
so
wrong.
happy to see the reception of that, and people just being like, "Holy shit!" And also make sure, for like, especially on my end, that Miles Morales is here forever.
Yeah.
That kid is here forever.
There's a level of acceptance that you have to enjoy, like just watching this character, you know, kind of grow amongst, like, not even just comic book fans, but just regular people, like casual people who just came and saw a cool Spider-Man movie to them.
Yeah.
And became comic book readers, went back and got this stuff, and
you know,
I think Miles is fantastic.
Miles is the shit, man, and that's how you do it right. That
And
movie,
the importance of this movie is that it also legitimizes animation further in the eyes of the general public, because you can compare that to any of the live-action Spider-Man movies, and I think it tells a better story than most of them.
I agree.
Yeah.
Whereas animation is traditionally looked at as animation is only for kids, and like, I think this really helps the medium truly be an all ages storytelling.
That movie's for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best Spider-Man movie Sony's made.
Yeah, it is by far.
Like that's what it is. Like,
I don't even think it's like I really like, because it also manages to get everything about Peter Parker right too. While simultaneously being about Miles.
Yeah.
And that's insane.
Yeah,
That's
you fall in love with
mind-blowing.
different characters. It's so
Like,
good. It's
I
so
can't.
good.
I'll tell you this. I've said in the past that Iron Man and Spider-Man in the MCU is the closest we'll ever get to a good Batman and Robin movie, and I will stand by that forever.
Yeah.
Peter and Miles in Into the Spider-Verse is the closest you'll ever get to Nightwing and Robin in a movie together.
Yep. That's
the
Dick and Tim.
Yep, 100% it is. And the reason why that works is because they are unafraid to embrace not the source material, but what makes the source material work, what makes these characters last. Look, straight up, and I'm not saying this in comparison, I'm saying this for its own merit, the best movie that that WB has put out with this DCEU experiment, hands down, is Wonder Woman, and not in comparison. It is a great movie.
Yeah.
And again, it took too long to make a Wonder Woman movie happen. I was afraid we were at this point where an audience wasn't ready for it, because look at how long it took the Black Widow movie, how long it took for Captain Marvel. But Wonder Woman happened. It worked. It was a slam dunk. And I still can't wait for Wonder Woman 84. The strongest franchise that Warner Brothers has right now, and I'm telling you, they're not going to figure out any of these other characters to work the way they've made Wonder Woman work.
Yeah. And it's because they just make her Wonder Woman. They just embrace what makes that character awesome.
Yeah, and she does. She does an amazing job. Like I was definitely and here's, you can kind of mark me out a bit. Like, seeing her, I was like, really? Like Fast and Furious, bitch?
Because she's terrible in Fast and Furious.
But then it's like, I didn't care about her.
Great as Wonder Woman.
I didn't care about her in that movie. And then when I saw her in BVS, that was like, I'm like, you won. Like, you got it.
She was.
So I can't.
She's the one.
The best
bright
thing
spot of that
is
movie.
that, she's the best thing. It's that, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it because fuck it. That Batman saving Martha scene is one of the best fucking fight scenes. I don't care what anyone says.
It's great.
Listen,
why did you say that name?
Martha is stupid. Martha is fucking horrific, right? But that fight scene, again, as just a great choreographed fight scene.
It is. It's great, especially when Batman murders that one dude.
Oh, I can't.
Smashing his head against the wall.
He's fucking great. But listen,
I'm only speaking so you can see my thumbs down.
Why do you say these things to me when you know I shall kill you for them?
Yeah. But like,
listen,
come on. It's a great scene.
No.
It's fucking fantastic.
Nope.
It's a great scene.
I can't.
No.
He's murdering too many people, man.
Listen, I get it. Listen, he murders 92 people in Arkham Asylum.
Dude,
None of them are really unconscious.
Oh, they're fine.
They're all dead.
They're all fine.
Everyone.
Don't worry. You stick your head in any one electricity box, they're fine.
They're fine. Like,
don't worry about
I
it.
love that Pete Holmes skit where he's with the penguin, he's killing everybody. Like, that's what it is.
There's a difference between, like, okay, when you smash a guy's neck and his body goes all the way forward versus I take that guy into an electrical current. Like, he's probably alive. He might not be, but it's okay. And it's like the violence in that movie is so blatant. Like when the bat plane, like he's just gunning motherfuckers down, dude. Like at one point he straight up drives the Batmobile into honest. Yeah, exactly. Like I understand. Like that's a little different, but we don't even get that rubber bullets honest moment. He's just straight up mowing motherfuckers down and like driving them in total carnage, man. Just because Zack Snyder's fucking whacking it because he doesn't like no one else.
Well, remember, this is the same person that stated that Batman can be raped in my movie. So I mean, bro, like this is so. I'm not surprised at the shit that he pulled in it, and. See, going back, like how I look at fanboyism as being, and we'll use this movie as a perfect example, is that it's someone that looks at a product and loves it no matter how bad it is, but like unrealistically loves it.
Yeah.
Like and they will fight tooth and nail. Like, this is a great movie, knowing that it's full on dog shit. And that's how I've always looked at it.
Mike, there's a really great quote that me and Nick and Chris have heard for years and years. And it's, nobody ever went broke underestimating the taste of the American public.